Okay.
Hey, everybody, we are here with our Spotlight series. I have Ann Marie of Stifel on. Ann Marie, give us a little bit of background about what Stifel does and how you got into it.
Yeah. So Stifel is a broker dealer. They are a full service investment firm, and so they've been around over 130 years. They do all of the things that broker dealers do. I'm a financial planner, and so that's kind of my area of expertise is servicing clients. We manage their investments, but we also, I think probably more important than that is we help them develop a plan and stay on track. And I've been doing it, I guess it's 17 years now.
Excellent. And
Yeah.
what got you into that?
It was kind of weird. I started off as an advisor's assistant at my previous firm,
Mhm.
and I had no knowledge of anything. I didn't know the difference between a mutual fund or an annuity, but I went to school for health and nutrition counseling and lived in a really small area where there wasn't a lot of opportunities available for that. And so I just knew I liked to help people and saw the advertisement. I was working at a bank and I
Mhm.
thought, well, that's money. This is money. And just started learning and I really loved it. So I just like to help people.
I love that. And I think with everything that is going on today and the lack of education in school, it's it's needed now more than ever.
Yeah, and a lot of it is in the sense that I wish they teach in school. A lot of kids don't know what it's like to balance a checkbook or they don't understand what compounding interest is. So these are basic things that I think should at least be part of the college curriculum, if not high school.
I think it should absolutely be part of high school and
Yeah.
early, you know? So, what are
Yeah.
some of the biggest mistakes you see people make when it comes to financial planning?
Probably the biggest thing is letting their emotions get the best of them. In this day and age, it's like there's just so much access to information, not necessarily facts, but information, and everyone's got an opinion about what's going to happen. I mean, this is nothing new under the sun that there's always things going wrong, whether it's wars or whether it's election years or whether it's civil unrest. There's always something. But a lot of times I see that, especially if people don't have a financial planner kind of in their court, keeping them from jumping over the ledge, they tend to just act on their emotions. And they'll do things like they'll pull all their money out of the stock market at the very bottom, or they will, decide to stop making contributions to their 401k, even though making contributions or making investments when the market's down, you are able to purchase more shares.
Yeah,
So lots of emotions, especially in this day and age.
yeah. I think of it as people think the some of the skills and some of the traits of investing are, they should think of it as going to a store and getting, a good that you normally would buy, right?
Yeah.
So if you went to, I don't know, Best Buy because you needed a new computer, and the computer that you want is normally $1,000 or $1,500, and today it's on sale for $750. Do you buy it when it's on sale, or do you wait for it to go full price?
Yeah, you buy it when it's on sale, of course.
Exactly. But people don't think of the stocks or investing like that. They think of it as, oh, I'm down. What should I do?
Yep. And, a lot of times you'll get the question of, should we be doing something different? And most times the answer is no. It doesn't mean you never make portfolio changes, but most of the time you're getting asked that question when things are not going so well. They want to know if you should be doing something different. And the real, the real issue is that you should be investing more if that's possible, if things are down. And that's really the only thing you should be doing different, not the opposite.
Got it. What do you think are some of the best practices? We went over some of the mistakes people make, but what do you think some of the best practices are for financial planning?
Yeah, some of the best things I've seen, we see the gamut. A lot of folks that have done a great job of accumulating long term wealth they've always lived on much less than they've taken in. So they make that a habit of, living off of half of their income or living off of a third of their income. And they also take advantage of opportunities, whether it's in the stock market or the real estate market. When things are down, they use that opportunity to build their wealth more and to purchase more. So that's a great practice. Starting young, it helps so much because the time you actually have is on your side. So you end up having to invest a lesser amount to get more because you have the beauty of the compounding interest in that equation.
Perfect. What would you think is a great age to start learning?
I think as soon as people start working, I've had children of clients who, as soon as they get their first job when they're 18, they start investing into a Roth IRA. And I think I ran the calculations. If you made 8%, maybe it was 9%, but you started investing $200 a month at age 18. By the time you were 65, you'd have over $1 million. So that's the length of time was on their side.
That's awesome. Have you seen, one of the things my wife and I did, and I love it, is we bought the game Cash Flow for our kids.
Oh, nice.
Have you seen that? Have you played it? Do you recommend that to clients?
I don't know. I've heard of it, but I've never played it. How does it go?
Think of real life Monopoly.
Uh-huh.
But they include stocks and bonds, and you control the moves that you make, but you obviously don't control what you land on or the opportunities that you get. And it shows you, it makes you have a personal financial statement. You can buy stocks, you can buy companies, you can buy real estate. And the name of the game is to accumulate more cash flow than your bills. So you can create X amount of passive income through investments, and you have a job, and they have different job descriptions. So instead of like Monopoly, you had the hat, the battleship, and whatever else, but it was just a symbol. In cash flow, you have different professions that have different incomes, different debt, different number of kids, and it actually all attributes to every time you pass or get a paycheck, you accumulate more cash in which you can invest and try to get your passive income much higher than your living expenses and your bills.
Wow. I definitely need to make note of that and get that for clients and their kids for a gift.
Don't even get the kids version. Mine are 9 and 5,
okay,
and they don't even like playing the kids version.
They like okay. That's awesome.
The kids version is a little too simplified, and I don't really think they're going to learn much. The adult version is very good, and I can tell you that most adults need to play the game.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. That's super fun. Thanks for the tip. Yeah, I know I had heard of it, but I hadn't played it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth playing, and anything that's going to teach the next generation how stuff actually works, and not that there's 37 genders, I think is important.
That's important, and also that you're not always going to get a participation trophy. Someone's not going to hire you just because you got all C's, or that you might actually have to go to work and earn minimum wage for a while, see how that works when they take taxes out of it. Not too fun.
Yeah, you mean learn skills, like actual skills that apply to real life?
So crazy. Yeah, my husband's a general contractor, and he's always saying, more people need to get into the trades. Everyone wants to go to school and get some weird degree, and what are you going to do with that? What about starting your own business? What about, building something? What about being a plumber? People have great businesses doing things like that.
Now, if you don't mind, what's the percentage of people you work with that own a business?
That own a business? Probably at least a quarter to 40%. A lot of people have either been a business owner or they used to be previously. A lot of self-employed folks. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think? Because I know from my experience that an entrepreneur will make different mistakes than someone that is employed. What are some of the mistakes you see entrepreneurs make when it comes to financial planning?
Yeah, one thing that comes to mind right away is not being as mindful as they can of taxes. So there's a lot of strategies with investing, as well as other things that can be done that provide a tax shelter or tax savings. And sometimes I see them get so wrapped up in keeping a great deal of cash on hand, that they're maybe not investing as much as they could back in the business, or they're not doing the right things to shelter taxes. But having a good CPA in the mix is just vital. So, I mean, you want to have a financial planner, but I don't do tax. I don't give tax advice. So partnering with that tax planner is crucial. Sometimes they don't get, like in the state of California where I live, you actually are required to have a retirement plan now, and they will make you sign up for theirs, of course, if you don't do your own. So if you decide to do your own, you have a lot more flexibility, and you can do a lot more creative things to save in taxes versus the state-run plan. So if you're going to have to do it anyways, might as well take it upon yourself to educate and do the most advantageous plan possible.
I didn't know that, but how do they enforce that?
Oh, good question. They've got so many rules. I don't know how they enforce any of them, but it used to be, so it started off with if you had 100 employees or more, then it was 50 employees or more, then it was 5 employees or more, and now it's 1 employee or more. So basically everyone has to have a retirement plan. And if you're penalized $250 a year per employee if you don't. And the one that they put you in it's just a Roth IRA that's run through the state with State Street funds, which is the only option. And that's a whole other story, but I'm not a fan of State Street funds. They've got some ESG dealings and things like that. But if you basically just kind of delay and then you get put in this plan with the state, that's what you get.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's amazing what communism does.
California, here we are.
California, I like that. I actually haven't heard that. And
You haven't heard of that? Oh,
no.
Those of us that live here, where we live is way northern California, and it's fantastic. But it's a large state, and there's a lot of things that go on, and we aren't the ones that are calling the shots. That's for sure.
Absolutely not. I mean, I left New York because of it.
Where are you at now?
Tampa, Florida.
Nice.
I made the move 2 years ago. I wish I made the move 10 years ago when I first thought of it.
You have a great governor.
We do. I think he's a little early to be throwing his hat in for the presidency, but
I know. I wondered about that. I didn't watch the debates last night, but I just like the way that he handled COVID with the common sense, with leaving a lot of the decisions up to the parents. California wasn't that way. Fortunately, the pocket that we live in was, we operated kind of on our own. Yeah. No one really checked on us because there was too many rules and too many things they were trying to enforce to check on. So it worked out well. Yeah, probably the same as the retirement plan.
Yeah, New York was very similar. So I used to live in Long Island, which is usually red or at least neutral.
Yeah.
And same situation, but I couldn't leave it to chance anymore. It was just too chaotic to raise a family there, in my opinion.
It's wild when you think about it. I think when you're a parent, and we have 3 children, my husband and I have a blended family, but when people start telling you what to do with your kids,
absolutely not. Correct.
Yeah. No.
What are some of the tax strategies that you quote unquote could, okay, because I understand certain licenses, and what are some of the tax strategies you feel would be a good idea for entrepreneurs to look into?
Yeah, it really depends on their business. Usually I meet with people to learn more about it, how many employees they have, what kind of cash flow. But, a lot of times people start off with something called a simple IRA. It has higher limits than just a traditional. If the employer opts to, they can do what's called a company match. So that match would be 3% of their wages for the year. So there's an incentive for the employee to contribute, because otherwise they're leaving that 3% from their employer on the table. 401k is often a good strategy too. Sometimes people pair it with a profit sharing component. So if they have a good year, they can kick in more. And so that's been pretty significant for some small business owners as far as what they have been able to shelter on their tax savings. But every situation's a little bit different. You know, sometimes they're offering a Roth option more and more as people have young employees, and maybe the employees don't want to do a before tax contribution, so they do a Roth contribution. So it really just depends on the company. But I think the biggest thing is if you're being forced to do it like we are in our state, you might as well craft it to match what your business needs.
Got it. When you were starting off, what were some of the challenges you faced in growing your book of business?
Yeah, a lot. So the firm that I had come from, where I had learned, we basically were in charge of servicing the clients well that we had. There was not really a lot of prospecting or business building. So when I left there and I transitioned to my current firm, Stifel, that was about 10 years ago. And I also had moved locations. So I moved from the coast in California inland about 3.5 hours and didn't know anyone. So tons of challenges. Our training program left a little bit to be desired. You know, they talked a lot about products, but none of that really mattered if you didn't have clients, and I didn't have any. So a few came with me from my old firm, but mostly it was just good old fashioned pounding the pavement. And so I probably made every mistake in the book. You know, I sent out mailers. I would walk to businesses and try to introduce myself. It was all really good learning, but I can't say it was super effective. Yeah, I made a ton of mistakes. Mostly it was just a learning process, kind of through trial and error. And what I found is that things just take time. And it was all about just building relationships. And so then it started to move along.
Got it. So let's talk about building relations, because I don't think enough entrepreneurs understand the value of that. Is that primarily how you get most of your business today?
100%. So a lot of our business is based on referrals from existing clients. Mm-hmm. Sometimes centers of influence, you know, attorneys that we work with or tax planners, but far and above from our clients. And so we try to really anticipate their needs, and we truly do care about them and their families, how their children are doing. They had a new grandchild that was born. Oh, they've moved. They've had some kind of a tragedy in their family, and really trying to stay on top of that and staying in touch with them. So there's a lot of what we do is very, very relational. And I think that's everything, you know, just really caring about what's going on with them. Maybe they have an adult child that has some issues. And so you try to connect them with a professional that can help and things like that. So I would say if people are looking, people know if you really care, or if you're looking at them as just, I guess, just a revenue stream or a transaction. We're in a long-term relationship with our clients, and so it really has to be a deep relationship that people understand that we do care.
Got it. And what do you think, if you could give some keys to relationship building for someone that is just starting?
Some keys.
Yep.
Yeah. I think a lot of it for me has been just kind of what feels natural, which is friendship first and then business later. So a lot of times that happens. I try to go to lunch with a lot of my lady clients for their birthday. And I found a lot of times that I get to know things about them that I never knew just based on a business conversation. So, you know, one lady I went to lunch with, and I've since gotten to know her husband, and then her adult son and his family moved to the area. I've gotten to know them. Sometimes we do like ladies wine tasting night. There's just, yeah, there's a lot to be said for facilitating those relationships. And to me, it's what feels natural. And so then it is natural. It feels very comfortable to want to know people and learn more about them. And you feel like you've gained friends. It's not just this kind of arm's length business relationship. That there's a friendship there too that's genuine.
I think that's really, really, really important. I don't think enough people view it.
The call.
What was that?
What'd you say? I thought Andy was talking about that on one of the calls. He said make a friend, make a sale or something like that. So it's just about just making friends with people. I mean, you know, just learning more about them and talking to them and understanding them.
Yep. There is a very, very human element to business that people are trying to weed out. And I think that the average buyer understands if it's transactional or if they're building a relationship based on how natural, like you said, how natural is the conversation? How much do you care? Do you have empathy, or is this just another number to you? And I do think that over time, people are going to want that more and more. I mean, today, most things are done over the phone or over the computer. Years ago, that was never the case. So there needs to be something or some way to fill that void. So let me ask you this. What are some of the goals you have for, I guess, yourself, because you're an entrepreneur, not an entrepreneur, but what are some of the goals you have for the next year, 3 years, 5 years?
Sorry, can you say that one more time? I'm getting like some cutting out.
Okay. I was asking, what are some of your goals as an entrepreneur?
Some goals.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Well, one of my primary goals is to.
Hey guys, this was the Spotlight series. We're having technical difficulties. We apologize. We'll see you on the next one.